What is your relationship with Randy Moss?
Well, I haven't talked to him. I don't have any regrets as far as Randy. You know, he's trying to carry a franchise that's really struggling, and a lot of pressure on him.
Well, we've heard so much this offseason about the Randy ratio. We'll be keeping a close eye on that.
Randy Moss, well, new coach Mike Tice of the Vikes says, we're going to get you the ball 40% of the time when we go to the air. Dante Culp, they didn't say how long though, Tom. Here's no gain, although it was a completion. Culpepper, sidelines. Hey, little alligator.
Well, alligator arms, but Randy Moss was actually right here not to go after that ball. The safety's coming over the top.
At the 33. So first play after the turnover to Bada Culpepper to Randy Moss. And what? Randy Moss says you got to be kidding. We had a 10-point lead at half.
They call him the freak, the Randy ratio. Randy Moss, they want to get it to him 40% of the time. And here's Culpepper out of the shotgun. Culpepper underneath, and he underthrows Randy Moss, who was open at the time. At the 39, here's Moss in motion. Play action, short roll for Culpepper. Brings it down, plenty of time over the middle. Moss, did he keep both feet in bounds? Yes, he did, at the 30-yard line. Randy Moss, a gain of 31 yards.
Gus, watch the hang time. Very Jordan-esque by Randy Moss, knowing where he is, coming across the field. Don't give up on the route. And Dante Culpepper over three guys. Look at him keep those feet in. Randy Moss right on the sideline.
Greg Williams steps onto the field. I believe they may want to take a look at it and see if he got both feet in bounds.
You know, the great thing about Dante Culpepper on that play, rolled out, had the tight end initially, then he was covered up, just was patient, just stayed with it, waited to the last minute, saw Randy breaking across, and he put a bullet right on the numbers of Randy Moss, who had great sideline awareness, came up and came down, got those toes in.
So they're going to take a look at this play, and did he keep both feet in bounds?
You know, in live fast action, it sure looked like it from up here. Two touch right there, beautiful. That's exactly how it's drawn up. And we're talking about a quarter inch to spare, and that is some spectacular camera work right there on the sideline.
Mark Edman, our cameraman, right on the play. Everybody's fired up. We are, they are, the cameraman.
He was close enough to get Randy Moss's autograph.
So Randy Moss, and how difficult is it as a receiver to keep those feet in bounds when you're running full speed?
You know, it's running full speed isn't as tough as being up in the air, because you got to control where you land. So you can't jump too far close to the sideline. You got to be able to get up and get back down. You can't jump lengthwise. You got to jump up in the air and get some more height. But look at that. That is just on inside the line. That is spectacular.
He looks like Baryshnikov there.
Very nice.
Keeping both feet in bounds, going up high, doing a pirouette.
You're a big ballet fan, aren't you?
Yes, actually I am.
That's very impressive. I don't think you have that much flexibility.
You're right, 100%.
Well, that was a big-time throw, and Randy Moss is going to get all the credit for that catch. But
we'll talk about Randy Moss and a lot of things being made about the Randy ratio as the official comes to render his decision.
And you talked about the Randy ratio. That's getting him 40% of the plays during the course of the game.
After review, the receiver, while in possession of the ball, got both feet in bounds before going out of bounds. The completed pass, first down.
So a completed
Buffalo
catch
is charged with a timeout.
for Randy Moss. Buffalo charged with the timeout.
And Gus, just spending time with Randy Moss yesterday, he was just happy. He was pumped up. He's ready to go. It just seemed like he had a different demeanor. We had this Vikings team at the end of last season, and it just seems like so much has changed with his attitude, the locker room, everything across the board.
Moss, the fastest receiver to reach the 5,000-yard plateau, and the only receiver in NFL history to break 1,000 yards in each of his first 4 years. Culpepper, short drop, underneath, incomplete. Moss, the intended receiver. And when we talked to the Bills, they had no problem saying that every time Dante Culpepper drops back in the pocket, he looks in Moss's direction.
And he does. And if you have Randy Moss on your team, you would like to do that as a quarterback, although it's going to come back to be an issue as the season progresses because every defense knows that. You saw Dante right there throw into triple coverage, and we had single on the backside, single coverage on the backside. Derek Alexander,
Dwayne
tight ends. There you go. You've got to start getting the ball in the hands of some of your other playmakers. And let's go back. You see Randy Moss coming a little motion, a little zigzag, and boy, Dante, he must have not been looking with his eyes on Randy Moss that time because Randy made a nice move inside. Little nice head fake, go out, come back underneath on the slant route, and Dante had already thrown the ball, got some pressure, but that's one of those times where he must not have been looking at him because he was open.
Michael Bennett in the backfield, short drop, they fire to Moss, and he's taken down. Antoine Winfield with the tackle. Culpepper underneath, Randy Moss with the catch, and Moss bottled up and taken down at the 21. London Fletcher in on the play. And Randy Moss doesn't scare teams underneath, does he?
Well, he can if there's enough room. You know, he's got that sprinter speed. But no, they're going to play him over the top. They'll give him the 3-4 yard catches. And we still haven't seen Dante Culpepper go to any other wide receivers. You got to get Derek Alexander in the mix. He can make some things happen, take some of the pressure off of everybody focusing on Randy Moss on every pass play.
This time they look for Moss. Broken up at the last moment. Nicely done, Nate Clements. 5'11".
And I guarantee you that Nate Clements told Randy Moss about what a phenomenal play that was. You see Randy saying, come right back with it. Watch Clements get his arm right up underneath that ball, pop it right up. Very impressive defensive play. You don't see Randy Moss have the ball taken right out of his hands. And you see that punch coming up. We saw Keith Newman do it from the linebacking spot earlier, coming down.
Michael Bennett in the backfield, play action, Culpepper rolling. Moss finds it. Is it a catch? Yes, it is. Oh, so nicely done.
Boy.
Randy Moss.
And so elegant.
Of 15, so elegant.
Right along the sideline, Gus, and that ball that's up over your head where you've got to get both feet down right on the sideline is such a tough one. You're going to see him, I think, plant that left and drag right. Just very impressive job.
And I talked to
staying in bounds.
Derek Alexander before the game as you take a look at the Randy ratio, and he said that he had to see for himself whether Randy was as good in person as he was on film, and he said he can't believe it. If you throw the ball anywhere near him, it's a catch. Here's the reverse to Moss now. Outside, Moss spinning. And Moss wrestled down by Antoine Winfield.
You saw that fake reverse earlier with the different alignment. You watched Randy Moss coming in motion from the outside. Going to get the reverse. And you see that field open up, and you see him get upfield, try a little spin move. And nothing wrong with putting the ball in the hands, Gus, your playmaker. That's how you win games.
They want to get it to him, or at least look for him 40% of the time. That's what they call the Randy ratio for 2nd and 10 at the 43. Culpepper caught by Moss over the shoulder at the 45. Eddie Robinson stopping him. Culpepper to Moss. Moss stays in bounds, and Moss hops out of bounds at the 26. There's your square out partner. 2nd down and goal now at the 2. Clyde Saucer, Mo Williams in the game. Culpepper looking for Randy Moss. Touchdown! Unbelievable! With one hand. Unbelievable! Randy Moss. What a catch by the freak. A freaky catch. Wow.
And he's going to push off a little bit with his left, Gus. Nate Clements, you remember what happened last time. Nate stripped him of the ball. You see a little push off with the left and pull the right arm back around and catch it. Like it's just another day at the office.
Holy mackerel. Extra point is up and good. The Randy ratio paying off for Minnesota. Courtesy of Dwayne Bates' run back. And the Minnesota Minnesota Vikings take a 20-13 lead. And we'll stay right here. Randy Moss giving Minnesota the lead. First down and 10 now for Minnesota. Here's Culpepper, sidestepping, looking for the home run. Throws it up for Moss. Oh, he bobbled it out of bounds. It was underthrown, and Moss tried to slow up and make the catch.
And you know what? Randy Moss does a great job opening up his hips, but I think he was not only trying to catch that ball, he was going to try to bring it in and keep going down the sidelines. Watch, it looks like he takes his eyes off. Right there, he's got it, and he starts looking forward right there, and he didn't have the ball in. He wanted 6. He didn't just want a 40-yard play. Little push by Randy. Watch him turn around, and his eyes start heading upfield. He didn't have the ball yet. And that's a classic. I don't care who you are, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. If you take your eye off the ball and try to run and you don't have it secured, it's coming out.
40% of the time, they call it the Randy ratio. Well, right now we're at 52.
52, that's not a bad ratio. You know, I was thinking about my ratio.
What was your ratio?
My ratio was like about 8%. And I was trying to get it up into double digits, but everybody had their hand out.
Well, when you have Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, it's pretty hard for Brent Jones to get some catches, but I think you did okay.
He snuck in there every once in a while.
First and 10 at the 40. Culpepper looking for the home run. Moss pushes up. Got it! Touchdown! Touchdown, Randy Moss, but he certainly pushed off.
And there might be a hold, Gus, coming back. If they didn't call the push off, there's a flag. There's going to be a hold. And this one's going to be coming back. Let's watch Michael Bennett, number 23 right here. You see him sneaking out to the side. Let's see if we can see the hold. Yeah, but he actually comes out of the picture. Boy, it sure was away from the play. You see the hand checking going on right there. And you know, it didn't look as much from that angle as a push off, but hey, that's part of it, Gus.
Quick strike. Moss over the shoulder grab. How did he make that catch? And he gets to the 29. Randy Moss getting up slowly. Just a reminder, 60 minutes will be coming up next, except on the West Coast. Moss on the day, 8 catches, 96 yards. Minnesota driving. Moss also with the touchdown. 2nd down and 5 at the Buffalo 30. Here's the reverse. Moss gets outside. He's looking to throw it. Lets it go. Incomplete. You've been calling for it all day, partner. You finally got it, and Randy Moss got wrecked.
And you know what?
Hendrick Office drilled it.
And Gus, Derek Alexander was open by 30 yards, and Randy couldn't get around the defensive lineman. Took a huge shot, and he's again. Anybody that doesn't think Randy Moss wants to play or is tough, you watch him stay in after this hit. You see him getting around, trying to get that ball, and he just takes the shot, threw off his back foot. Derek Alexander, watch Derek Alexander down at the bottom of your screen. You think he's open? 30 yards wide open, but Randy takes that shot, can't throw off his front foot, and the ball doesn't get there. That was a touchdown. And we talked about that fake reverse all day. Time was a-coming.
Culpepper sets up, looks in the corner. Oh! Randy Moss held somehow. And that is the most athletic 2-yard catch maybe in the history of the league.
And you hear people talk all the time about coming back for the ball. Watch Randy Moss on a comeback route, keeps coming back, flicks it to himself. Ironically, takes a couple shots and still gets the first down. Time still rolling though, Gus. Minute 18 left.
Here's Moss in motion. Quick toss to Randy Moss. One-hand catch. Randy Moss down inside the 5, but the clock is still running.
Okay, right now, Gus, you look at the Vikings. There's no sense of urgency. 50 seconds. Now all of a sudden, now they're trying to call a play. You don't have that huddle communication, so you're going to have to run a quick route, a fade route, a slant route. That's exactly what they're going to come up with right here.
Or Dante Culpepper on the quarterback draw. Here's Culpepper, looks in the end zone. Incomplete. No flags. Chris Watson defensively stops the clock at 30.
And you know, an incompletion right here isn't that big of a deal. You actually get a huddle up, stops the clock. Trying Randy Moss. He's trying to get up with that one hand again with Chris Watson, who's done a tough job. You see Chris Watson looks like he's holding Randy Moss.
Culpepper, quick strike to Moss. And Moss steps out of bounds. He's chopped down by Nate Clements.
And what a battle today between Nate Clements and Randy Moss.
Nate's done a good job. You know, guarding Randy Moss is not an easy thing. Nate only 5'11". Randy Moss all of 6'4" with blazing speed.
Minnesota Vikings, who are 0-2. Dante Culpepper looking for Randy Moss. And it's Mike Minter. After dinner, Minter. It's very early to put that on the pillow, but he makes the pick. Next possession. Here's Culpepper looking for Moss again. Over his head, Deion Grant. Was it really over his head, Tom?
Well, we'll take another look at it, and certainly it's a pass that looks like it was a little bit overthrown, but you have to see it from Dante Culpepper's perspective. He thinks it's a ball, obviously, that Randy Moss should have gone for.
So the Vikings leading 7-0 in the third. Culpepper. Now, this time Moss helps him out with a big block on Mark Fields, who feels like he's on Strawberry Fields as you look at it again, and boom. And so Minnesota's still in business. Culpepper looking for Moss later in the third. Remember, they still lead this thing 7-0 late third. And, off one hand of Moss into the hands of Deion Grant.
And again, you have to see it from Dante Culpepper's perspective. You go up with two hands, you try to catch the football, you prevent the interception, and you can see right there the reaction of the quarterback.
Well, the coach knows. He's just step back. Moss doesn't even give him an ear. Not a pretty scene on the Vikings sideline. The Vikings themselves are 0-3 outside Seahawks Stadium, and Randy Moss with the sunrise on him and the Vikes. Sunday Night Football on ESPN.
Randy Moss was arrested today.
Promise has turned to heartbreak.
Have a lot to go.
Does the last chance for redemption come tonight? He is no stranger to controversy, no stranger to spectacular plays. Randy Moss is frustrating, electric, troubled, brilliant, and infuriating. He is all that and more because he might be the most physically gifted player you have ever seen. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. Earlier this week, Randy Moss was arrested for a minor traffic incident, charged with 2 misdemeanors, and spent the night in jail. Since then, he has apologized to his teammates and his organization. And his head coach, Mike Tice, says he will start tonight. For the reasons why, here's Susie Galbraith.
Well, Mike, most people don't know both sides of the story. But, Coach, the bottom line is your star player spent a night in jail this week. Why does he deserve to not only play, but start?
Well, he's worked extremely hard to do the right thing. You know, we're around him every day, and we see what he does in the course of the offseason, the course of the preseason, the course of training camp. We see how hard he's trying to do the right thing. And I think it's the best thing for our football team and for him as a young man to stand behind him. As long as he's willing to work hard at doing the right thing, I think we did the right thing.
How do you think Randy would define respect?
I think Randy defines respect by giving the people their due. I think Randy needs to understand that he made a mistake, though, and I think he needs to work hard to rectify that.
People just want to know, does he get it?
I think he's getting it.
Dante Culpepper has admitted that he's been trying to force the ball to Randy. So how do you make everybody happy tonight?
Well, you win a game. When you win a game, people start to get happy. And I think the best thing for our football club right now is to go out, play well, and win a football game.
Mike Tice created the Randy ratio. Let's try and get Randy 40% of the throws in a game. The problem with that is his quarterback has bought into it completely. Tonight, he's got to not ignore Randy, but let Randy find the holes and yet get the ball to other receivers.
Mo Williams in as the running back. Culpepper throws to Moss, tipped away.
You know, I like the first 2 calls, which are running plays, and then you're going to go to the guy they know they're going to throw to.
Well, you have to throw the football, Paul. You can't avoid it. There, Randy puts the move on Lucas, gets him falling down, does a nice job of working to the second level, Marcus Robinson makes an excellent play.
Number 84, watch this. He comes down inside, bam! That is an outstanding block. He gets two people.
It doesn't have to be hard. He does a smart job of getting his head in front on Willie Williams and giving Mo Williams a chance to turn the corner.
Moss on the near side.
He's got one-on-one with Randy Moss. I'd take my shot with him.
And there it is. Moss in front of Lucas. Lucas, the second-round draft choice out of Ole Miss. And here come the boos.
I just don't believe that you can go one-on-one with Randy Moss. See, Kenny Lucas, Moss does a little stutter go. Lucas never, ever gets a chance to find the ball, loses his footing. But this is what you need to do. If you get Randy one-on-one, give him an opportunity to make a play.
And throw it short. Let him come back to the ball. He knows where he's going. He knows where the ball is.
He puts such fear in defensive backs. The Randy ratio is something that the Vikings came up with at the start of the season, saying we need to throw to Moss 40% of the time. So far, they've thrown to him 41.5, completed 22 of 61 that they've thrown to him, but 4 of 6 interceptions for Culpepper have come when he's tried to get the ball to Moss.
It basically means that he is the primary receiver on 40%, and every team has someone that they will do trying to get the ball to their guy. This is the problem when you try and force the ball to one receiver, and that's been Dante Culpepper's problem. You see Randy Moss, he's lined up top. He's going to come across the middle. Now, as Dante goes back, actually the guy that makes a big difference is the end. He steps twice. He double clutches to come up. It really throws the timing off, which forces the throw to be laid over the middle. Randy tries to make a play. Grant winds up with the interception. That's what happened to him last week. That was more Dante Culpepper and the pressure than anything.
Here is our ETV poll question of the night. Should the Vikings have benched Randy Moss for what happened earlier in the week? Yes or no? You can vote right now. Log on to ESPN.com or NFL.com and click on the ETV logo. This will be interesting. Moss with 1 catch.
Mike, you mentioned the fact that Randy Moss has 1 catch, but it's the other ways he's contributing. This is the area that he's worked on. There's a big block that springs Mo Williams. Here he is up against Ken Lucas, making a play, a key first down. And then again, out throwing his body around. He understands that what he said has drawn a lot of attention, and he is working very hard to be the complete receiver.
Mo Williams in on 3rd and 1. And they throw for Moss. Great awareness of where he was and what he needed. Moss dives for the first down.
You know, we're not seeing a different Randy Moss, but we are seeing a different Dante Culpepper.
That's what I'm saying.
Randy Moss is going to play his game and do with the things that he does in his game. Culpepper has, I think that the best thing that's happened to him, he found out that there are other people on this football team besides Randy Moss.
And the other thing is he's running with the football. But somewhere in the course of the night, they have to take a shot down the field with Randy.
They will. Oh, they will. What is your take on the Randy Moss situation? I think everybody in the country knows he was arrested on a minor traffic incident earlier this week, spent the night in jail. How do you feel about the whole thing right now, having a chance to look at it?
Well, it's certainly an issue, and it creates some problems. It creates some obstacles, and obviously we have to take a look at it. The NFL is such a great program for all of our country. But we work with Randy every day, and we know that Randy's a good guy. So that fit into making decisions.
Red, do you feel like you committed an awful lot of money to Randy? Are you getting the return on your dollar from your star player?
Well, Randy didn't have his best year last year. There's no question about that. He still had a good year. We think Randy has a long career ahead of him, Joe. So obviously that's what star players get in this league. We didn't set that up. That's what happens.
Then we did a survey, should you have benched Randy Moss? And obviously the question came up, and it had to come to you also as the owner.
Well, there's no question. It came to me. I've been in contact with Mike Tice every hour virtually, and I think that Mike has handled this from his end there very well. And it didn't appear to us that this was in the best interest of anybody. We did hear from fans. We heard from people who wanted to bench him, wanted us to release him, all sorts of things.
I imagine you heard for some other teams that wanted you to release him so they could get him.
Well, you know, I've thought about it a lot. Would we make the same decision if this were a third stringer, let's say? Well, we probably wouldn't, quite honestly. But we know that Randy is a good guy. We know that he works hard every day. We have a team of 53 players, and those players want Randy on this team. So there are a lot of considerations here.
I think it's superb the way that this entire team has rallied around him.
3rd and 5 for the Vikings. Blitz coming. Moss. Double team, can't get the first down.
That's an excellent job by Seattle's defense. One took the position inside. Another player, Marcus Bell, took the position outside. This is a good job of a defensive back and linebacker working together. Here comes the blitz off the corner. Lucas comes outside. Bell comes inside. They really don't give Randy any place to go to get the first down.
Gary Anderson, who was re-signed last week, comes on for the field goal. And he is a guy who has proven as an assistant coach that he knows what he's doing. Moss, lateral, hook and ladder. Mo Williams, nice play down to the 35.
Good protection up front. Seattle dropping way back. They have a little bit of a cushion. Randy Moss, the presence of mind to come inside, try and throw a block, and then pitch it out to Mo Williams.
And the half ends on another sour note for Mike Tice and the Minnesota Vikings. Randy Moss really has not been a factor. 4 catches, 32 yards. They have thrown to him 7 times, but this is something you can hardly blame Randy Moss for.
Randy's been more of a factor blocking the ball. Here he makes a first down catch. Hasn't really been up the field, and this is where he's most dangerous. Not catching 1-yard hitches for a first down or not catching 3-yard passes. His danger comes when he gets a chance to make a play 30 and 40 yards down the field. Before that last throw, you see Randy Moss has had 7 passes thrown to him, 4 receptions. The rest of the team 10 and 6 receptions. Really, you can throw 50 passes to him. If they're 4 or 5-yard passes, it doesn't really accomplish what Mike Tice referred to as the Randy ratio. He's a playmaker and needs to get down the field.
Moss goes in motion. They'll give it to him on the reverse, and Moss looking to throw. Now he reverses his field. Culpepper says, I'm over here. Moss says, throw me a block. And Culpepper out of bounds at the 3.
Michael, that is some of the best play-by-play I've heard. Hey, throw me the ball. You go block.
That's pretty good communication between 2 guys looking at each other.
Well, first of all, Dante here's the handoff. Randy comes in motion. Now it wants to be an option pass. There's no one there. Now his athletic ability takes over. He's got Dante out to his left. He's going to look at him. No, I'm not going to pitch it to you. Dante says, fine, I'll come up and throw a block for you. Where's Chad Brown? Let me see if I can get a piece of him. And then he steps out of bounds with the first down.
Well, Mike, before kick, Mike Tice told us how hard Randy Moss has worked to be a leader for this team. And other players have told us what no one gets to see is just the energy and the enthusiasm that he brings every day at practice. But the true test of being a leader is not what you say, it's what you do. And Randy Moss has not given up tonight. He's been continually trying to fire his teammates up.
Susie, he is certainly not responsible for anything that's gone wrong tonight. I honestly believe that Randy Moss has matured since he was taken out of college, and I think he is really trying to do the right thing. I don't know if you agree or not.
Well, Mike Tice, when we asked him yesterday after he said, you know, he apologized, he did all these things, I said, do you believe that he is sincere, that, you know, this will never happen again? He said, I don't know that, and I really don't know what's in his, you don't really know what's in his mind.
I think you do know that he is trying, and I believe that, to me, I look at a guy like Emmitt Smith, who's the supreme superstar. And Emmitt Smith is a guy who conducts himself professionally everywhere. And I don't buy into the fact that Randy Moss is 25 years old and he's young and he still has to grow up. He knows what everything is about. Mike Tice has a sign up that says respect. It's for all his teammates, for everybody to understand. You respect each other. You respect the coaches. You respect the media. You respect the fans. And Randy will, I believe personally, this is my opinion, I think Randy Moss will get it. I think the fact that he's been paid a lot of money, and the statement that really, really gets everybody going is the one he made last year when he said, I took plays off. That's the one that has come back to haunt him time and time again.
But here's what he said this year at a press conference. This is the last thing this team needed. I'm sorry for what I have caused or what I have brought on everyone. 2 years ago, Randy Moss would have never made that statement. It was always me, not the team, not my teammates. I think he is trying very hard. Randy Moss trying to keep it going for Minnesota. Our enhanced TV question of the night. Should the Vikings have benched Randy Moss for this game, considering what happened earlier in the week with the traffic incident? 58% of you said yes, 42% no. 75,000 voted earlier in this game. Should Red McCombs, the owner, and Mike Tice, the head coach, have decided to bench Randy Moss, or is this the right thing to have Randy Moss play in this game?
First of all, no, do not bench him. First of all, he's accused of something. He's not been found guilty of anything. He plays.
I agree with you, Paul. I think Mike Tice made the right decision. I think it was good for him and good for his football team to get his wide receiver out on the field.
Randy Moss in his first 4 years had 53 touchdown catches, better than Jerry Rice, better than Bob Hayes. The other two were the fastest starts in the history of the NFL. Rice also caught 5,396 yards worth of passes. That's #1 all time. 83 yards a game. That is #1 ever in the NFL. He is a remarkably gifted player. Moss out in the flat on a little hitch, and that's what he can do.
You know what's amazing about he's one of the few guys that I've seen in a lot of years, Joe, that can actually catch the ball without looking at it. This ball is thrown on his hip.
The other is Jeremy Shockey with the New York Giants, the tight end. He will start to know where he wants to go. He has such great eye-hand coordination. He can feel where the ball is going to be, then turns to look where he goes. The other thing about him, for a long strider, he can get up to top speed very quickly. Very unusual for a guy that's a long strider.
And his top speed may be unlike anything we ever saw before. Culpepper for Moss, can't hold it. That's 2 touchdowns the Vikings have dropped in the third quarter.
Randy Moss was trying so hard to keep his feet in bounds that he just couldn't quite control the ball. What a throw by Culpepper.
Beautiful throw.
He's waving himself off the field.
Look at this. He goes up. He's trying to get both feet down and can't quite hold on. Look at that throw.
Is this on target or what?
Well, as we've said before, you know the Vikings are in 4-down territory no matter what.
When I saw Randy Moss just that time when he's walked out the field, he took himself off. I think he's got cramps in his legs. There's nothing wrong with him. I mean, his legs hurting him. Yeah, he needs water. He's got cramps in his legs.
2nd and goal. Instead, he drops straight back, throws to Moss, knocked away, incomplete.
Randy is trying to say to Dante, just lead me up the field a little bit.
What a job Ken Lucas has done tonight. 2nd-year corner out of Ole Miss.
Off to your left, Dante Culpepper making the throw. He throws it behind Randy just a little. See, Randy says, put it out front a little bit. Good job of freezing. Yep. Ken Lucas just getting a hand on it. We've seen Marcus Robertson make some great plays that way tonight, too.
3rd and goal. Culpepper under pressure. Throws through the hands of Randy Moss. Holy cow.
I'll tell you one thing, Randy Moss, the play before when he said throw it out front, then you make this mistake. This is lack of concentration, because I'll tell you, Dante Culpepper hits him right in the hands. He could not have thrown this ball any better. First of all, he was able to escape, and look at this throw. Randy Moss in your hands.
Oh.
You never see that.
Derek Alexander drops a touchdown. Randy Moss drops a touchdown.
Twice.
Well, here you go again. You got 4th down on the 3.
Culpepper floats this for Moss. Can't hold it. Holy cow.
Dante hangs the ball up. Randy tries to make a one-handed play on it. He just can't hang on to the ball tonight.
Well, this
thing's getting away. I mean, he's got it clean. He does a nice job of using his body. Make sure the defender doesn't get there. That's Doug Evans, who's pretty close to his height.
And the crowd here is all over Randy Moss.
And Randy Moss has had the chance to make some plays for his team. Dante Culpepper hitting him down the seam. Tries to keep his both feet inbounds, can't get rid of it. Dante scrambling around on 4th down, goes right through Randy's hands. An easier catch. And this is more typical of the type of catches that Randy Moss has made in the past. I remember games against Minnesota, against Dallas and Green Bay when he's made those kind of catches. The Randy ratio, try and get the ball thrown to him 40% of the time. That's right about where they are. The key now is for him to make plays. He's got to hang on to the football.
A very uncharacteristic 5 drops for Moss on the evening.
Well, Mike, you guys have talked about what might have been for the Vikings. A large part of that has to do with Randy Moss. An uncharacteristic night for Moss. He's known for his body control in the air, the acrobatic catches. Dante has put it in his hands, and whether it's lack of focus or maybe just trying too hard, 3 crucial drops tonight. But I've been watching him, and I'll tell you this, he has not given up on a route, and Lucas has been in his face all night, sometimes actually tackling him and throwing him to the ground. That's a lot of frustration for one Randy Moss tonight.
It certainly is, Susie. Been an awful week for him, and he is facing a mandatory clinical evaluation by the NFL because he was charged by the prosecutor with 2 misdemeanors for that traffic incident. The NFL has a personal conduct policy, and if you run afoul of the law, you automatically face a mandatory evaluation. And if they determine you need to have counseling for it, that is also mandatory. So that's what Randy Moss is looking at. Depending on the outcome of the charges against him, he may also face further discipline from the NFL. And because a small amount of marijuana was found in the car, if charges are ever filed on that, he could face problems under the substance abuse policy. So things are not as rosy as possible for Randy Moss.
And the Vikings start this game with 4 wide receivers. Quick pass out to Randy Moss. Moss brought down almost immediately by Chris Cash.
And I know they want to look away from Randy Moss, but watch how wide open Moss is on this play. If they're going to single cover Moss, look at that right there. If they're going to single cover him with Todd Light, I know we want to get away from the Randy ratio, but man, if they're going to give it to you, you have got to take it.
Moss going in motion. They fake the handoff to Randy Moss. Good enough for another Viking first down. Gain of 12.
And on this play, we talked about rolling Dante Culpepper out. We talked about also, Kurt, if they're going to put one man on Randy Moss, and here it's Chris Cash, you have got to throw the ball to him. I mean, look at the separation he gets from the young Lions cornerback. And there you see Dante Culpepper with that rollout. It buys him a lot of space, and it threatens the defense that, hey, he may run. And the other thing about rolling out is he only has to read half the field. You know, they talked on the pregame show about coaches' decisions.
Culpepper going deep for Moss. Moss made the adjustment but couldn't make the catch.
Well, that was a bit of a forced pass because there's a lot of coverage around Randy Moss. Look at Cash. Look at this. They've got him boxed in. They've got their 2 starting cornerbacks covering Randy Moss. Double coverage. Todd Light's right there. There's Chris Cash. So Light can play over the top because he knows Cash is underneath. And that's a dangerous pass for Dante Culpepper to have thrown. You know, the good thing about that, though, Kurt, was for the Vikings, Culpepper is still spreading the ball around. You see him talking there to Randy Moss and maybe explaining, you know, why he didn't look for Moss. But when you have a star player who's had turbulent times like Moss, you want to knock him around. And watch what Corey Harris does here on that play. And that's smart football because you want Moss, you want to keep him disrupted.
Culpepper from the shotgun. Complete to Moss.
Chris Cash, the rookie cornerback, has got a man-to-man. And I know that the game never gets bigger than Chris Cash. In other words, he always hangs in there mentally, but Randy Moss is bigger than Chris Cash. You know what I mean? And he's not going to be able to cover him man-to-man. Well, with that balance, Kurt, you make Randy Moss actually better. You see here, everyone else has gotten 10 passes, and they've completed 7 of them. And then Moss has actually had 4 thrown to him, and he's completed 3. So his percentage is a lot higher than it was in past games because they're spreading it around. They're forcing the defensive secondary not to just double cover Moss every play.
Minnesota needs the 18 for the first. They go to Randy Moss, who can't get there because of the nice open field tackle by Corey Harris.
We saw Corey Harris. He's back there looking for Randy Moss, looking for an opportunity to hit Randy Moss, and Moss is just going to drag across the center of the field here. And look at Harris. That's exactly what he's waiting for. He's back there. We saw him hit Moss on a play where Moss didn't even catch the ball. I mean, this is a guy who's been to the Pro Bowl, who's had, you know, a fantastic career.
Just 2 seasons ago, he was in Hawaii. And he gets that one out to Randy Moss, who makes the catch.
Yeah, and again, it's not forced. These guys are working together. There's no pyrotechnics on the sideline, Kurt. This is what today's been like. Very calm. You see Culpepper, Moss talking, and then they connect on the field. There's everyone's standing around, nice, calm, talking group, and then the ball goes to Moss. So, you know, there it is, more talking, calm, and then get it to Randy Moss. You know, Randy Moss, Mike Tice said it, and I'm sure it's absolutely true. He said he was humbled by not only the disturbances off the field, but by what happened last week, dropping touchdown passes in the end zone of the Seattle game.
Culpepper out to Moss. Right away, Moss makes the catch. 2 guys get around him, and Todd Light brings him down for the short pickup of 5 yards, which has kind of been the mode for Moss this year, short pickups.
Right, because what's happened is that most teams have come in and they've had 2 men on Moss almost all the time, or at least if they have 1 man on Moss, there's always a safety kind of lurking around to help to the inside or to help over the top. And so Moss's long catches have been very limited.
On 3rd down, they have to get it to the 40. Out to Moss, who can't make the one-handed catch, as that pass thrown behind him by Culpepper. Oh, that's just a miscue by Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, I mean, Moss does the right thing. I mean, that ball is thrown high and behind him.
So with less than a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter, Randy Moss and the Vikings take over. Ball will be spotted at the 6-yard line. Moss so far today 6 catches, 45 yards. Quick pass out to Randy Moss. And once again, another short gain as Moss picks up only 3 yards on that pass play.
Of course, the controversy which has always followed Randy Moss continued to follow him in the last couple of weeks here, Kurt. I spoke with Greg Aiello from the NFL this week and asked what would happen, what's the scenario under which Randy Moss could be suspended, and he said only if he violates the drug and alcohol policy.
Off the play action, he rolls to his left, being chased. Randy Moss gets the first down. 11 yards on the pass play.
A lot of the reason, Kurt, is this right here. Here's Randy Moss here, and here's the cornerback, and here's the safety. So when Moss goes deep, that's your classic big play by the Vikings. You've got the corner under and the safety over the top. And that's why Randy Moss's yards per catch are down so much. That's why he's not averaging big plays, because defenses are taking it away by putting a safety over the top.
From the 33, Moss tiptoes on the sidelines, good for 8.
And what Randy Moss had was single coverage. Todd Light, it's 3 deep. He knows he's got to stay deep. So when Moss comes back, he's got plenty of time and space to make this catch.
But once again, a short pass to Moss. He's got 8 catches, 58 yards. That's only 7.5 yards a catch.
Well, if Todd Light has Moss by himself, you better believe that Light is just going to get way back and not give up that deep pass.
We talked about Moss's numbers, 7.5 yards a catch today. This season, about 8.5, which is half of what his career average is. His career, 17.5 yards through the first 4 seasons.
Well, Kurt, when they came out publicly and said, you know, the Randy ratio is going to get the ball in its hands 40% of the plays, every defense just said, okay, then we'll just take that away. We'll just put 2 guys on him. And if you're going to get the ball in its hands, you're not going to get big plays out of it. We're willing to commit a safety over the top so the cornerback can play underneath. So we were always safe on not giving up the big play. Culpepper and Moss excited. They know this is their time.
They've got another shot. Culpepper has the time. Can't find a receiver and throws it towards the end zone for Randy Moss, and he makes the catch at the 2-yard line. "25 yards on the reception. It's 1st and goal."
You know, Randy Moss all game long has been a decoy. He's not gotten frustrated, and he's worked hard. And on this play here, look at him. He never, ever stops trying to get open. And Culpepper scrambles and scrambles. He buys him time with himself time with great athleticism. And Moss makes this big catch. It's a big play, but really, Kurt, this came because Moss just kept working hard. Mike Tice told us, he said, Randy Moss was humbled by what happened to him against the Seattle Seahawks, dropping passes in the end zone, not doing anything well. And he said, for Randy Moss, he's as humble as I've ever seen him in his last 2 weeks of practice, more focused.
Well, he said he felt something different about Moss this season, and even though this is the first year that Mike Tice has been a head coach, he's been around Randy Moss his entire 5 years here as an assistant under Denny Green, so he knows Moss very well.
And look at Culpepper here and the great mobility and the great decision making. You know, you can tell that he's in a rhythm here. He's found his groove. He buys himself time. He sees the field and throws this pass to Randy Moss right down near the goal line.
No panic whatsoever in the body language from Culpepper nor Moss.
Well, I'll tell you, Kurt, diversity in this offense has been the difference. The Randy ratio has been out, and even Moss is smiling. Look, it's a lot more fun to win. I mean, yeah, you want to have yourself be the center of attention, but better things can happen for everyone around when you have that balance on offense, and that's what we've seen.
Boy, this is what Randy Moss is going to have to deal with all day long. Watch the battle going on with the hand placement here, coming right off the ball. This is Reggie Austin, gets the jam, and Randy fights back, trying to reroute him to the outside with Green, the safety, coming over the top. He's going to face that all day long when he's on the outside. Here's Randy Moss right here. He's going to run a deep 4 pattern and come inside. Watch him take it up the field and watch him break inside. Now that's wide open in for any wide receiver, let alone Randy Moss. And I think sometimes the quarterback, Sam, doesn't see him when it's the right time to see it.
Toss and the reverse to Randy Moss. Culpepper is leading him. Moss pulls up and gets chased out of bounds by Jerry Azuma. Just a short pickup. Looked like it might go for more, and Moss is upset with something.
Well, I think he's mad at Culpepper for not throwing the block out here on Phillip Daniels. Right here, he could have blocked Phillip Daniels and had a seam. And Culpepper decided to go upfield more.
On 3rd and 8, Culpepper feels some pressure, throws, and completes to Randy Moss for a first down up at the 30-yard line, just across Reggie Austin made the tackle. Randy Moss has now caught at least one pass in 71 consecutive games.
They try to get the ball to Randy. We've all known about the Randy ratio. Here he's going to run a deep 4. He gets about there and then breaks it off inside. Takes it up, pins the safety here, and then breaks it back inside. That's called a deep 4 route. It's a route that Dante Culpepper is comfortable throwing.
It's Randy Moss in motion. Culpepper goes outside of Moss. Cuts it to the inside, the middle of the field. Spun around. Dives up to the 49-yard line. Randy Moss' second catch.
This team over the years has gone from 3 deep when it was Carter, Reed, and Moss to 2 deep, Carter and Moss, to this year just Moss.
Well, this is the problem they have, and this is what Randy Moss gets. Watch, so you get the jam here, and then over the top is a safety just waiting. Here's a safety back here. Can't see him in the picture, but he's back there waiting. That's why Randy had to break off that route. But this time 84 actually helped out on the play, got his body. The ball's not to him. Watch him get his body in the way of Mike Brown and throws that block, and that's enough to pick up a few extra yards. You know, that's, and the one thing that Mike Tice did say about Randy Moss is he's been very patient through this. He hasn't complained. He's not saying, hey, you're not throwing me the long balls.
Receptions, 24 yards. Moss in motion. The quick toss to him. Takes it down to the 20. Pulled down. Larry Wiggum was there to take him down.
You know, when was the last time? Well, this year you've probably seen it, but in recent years, this isn't a Randy Moss route. And the way you get him off the line of scrimmage, off a jam, are simple routes like this. And it gets him involved, and it gets him a few yards after the catch. You get him in motion across the backfield. Nobody can jam him at the line of scrimmage. But when you certainly think of Randy Moss receptions, you don't think of patterns like that.
3 catches for 30 yards in the game.
Everybody starts this way, zone blocking. Then they push up field, and then there's the seam. But look who's blocking in your picture. Right there. That's number 84, Randy Moss. He gets into Austin, Reggie Austin, and there's a seal. There's a seam. There's a seam. He actually can block.
Plenty of time. The deep ball for Randy Moss. He's got it. Touchdown. They waited, and finally hit the big bomb to Randy Moss, 39 yards.
Patience.
His first touchdown in the last 5 games.
Patience is a virtue. That time, Randy Moss did not have the safety over the top. The safety actually bit on the underneath route run by Byron Chamberlain, the tight end. And he didn't get over the top. Randy Moss sailed down the sidelines for what you used to see 2 years ago on the go route.
Gary Anderson's extra point is good.
Take a close look at the safety right in here. He's going to bite up on Byron Chamberlain. Watch him bite. He comes up on that. There's the over the top. And Randy Moss is one-on-one, and that's just the things you have to do to find ways to get the defense to open up.
4 times Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss have hooked up for a touchdown.
Oh, look at that. Randy Moss bought his buddy a drink. Huh?
Randy Moss with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season. He'd never gone 5 games without a touchdown pass. Culpepper on 2nd down, everybody out. Throwing for the corner to Moss. He made the grab. He's out of bounds at the 3. Great catch by Randy Moss. 6 catches, 98 yards for Randy Moss. Culpepper being rushed. Throws, and it's caught by Randy Moss. Inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. Very close to a 1st down. Mike Green made the tackle. Moss is having a big game. He's over 100 yards.
Well, they blitz Urlacher here. Brian Urlacher right here. See, here's Urlacher. Watch, he's going to come, and he's going to come all the way around. Now, everything gets picked up except Urlacher. And here comes there's Urlacher, and all of a sudden there's Tafoya up the gut on a twist, and he just buys his time, and he works his way through the traffic to find Randy Moss. When you come with the blitz, if it does not get there, somebody's going to be open. Hey, when you're ahead.
That's right, when you're ahead by this margin. You see the numbers on Randy Moss today, with 1 touchdown, a 39-yarder.
Randy Moss talking on the phone. You know, it almost seems funny to see a player talking on that kind of phone anymore.
He can take a lot more hits than a Michael Vick or even a Donovan McNabb.
From the 44, the quick slant is caught by Moss, but a good job by Shelton Quarles holding Moss to just 3 yards.
I think any play that tries to exploit the Tampa Bay linebackers is not really a good play. Here's Moss right here. He goes in motion. So they're trying to get him singled up. But the reason why I don't think it's a good play is because Quarles and Brooks and Singleton all have outstanding speed.
Now Culpepper with time on 3rd and 9, looking for Moss in the end zone, who makes the catch for the touchdown. Randy Moss pulled it in. Dexter Jackson on the coverage. And for Randy Moss, this one may be called back, a late penalty flag.
Holding 63 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
I'm sure there's no one in Minnesota that's surprised to have a holding pen, right, Kenny? I mean, if it hasn't been turnovers, it's been penalties, key penalties for this offense that's killed them. But what a tremendous effort by Randy Moss, and he really got to highlight his skills and talents on that play there. I mean, those are the kinds of plays that make him such an incredible threat in the National Football League.
Midway through the first quarter here in Tampa, Buccaneers with the early lead.
And without Bates and Alexander, and that means the Bucs can focus even more on Moss. So what they're doing is they're going with cover 2 deep safeties. That's cover 2, okay? And what that means is this cornerback can get up here and really press Randy Moss. He doesn't have to worry about getting beat deep, because if Moss gets behind him, so there you see the press. If Moss gets behind him, there's the safety. There's John Lynch. You know, it shouldn't, in theory, go for a long touchdown. So really, that's like a form of double coverage. So Brian Kelly able to be very physical and get right up on Randy Moss, as long as he knows there's a safety over the top and he doesn't have to worry about getting beat deep. And then what happens is when teams do that, they do that cover 2. You saw Tony Gonzalez on our pregame show, and Gonzalez says he likes cover 2. So if you have a tight end, what you want to do is you want to run that tight end up the seam. He gets man-to-man coverage on a linebacker. So if they're going to continue to do that to Randy Moss, the cover 2, the 2-man, then Byron Chamberlain, 87, the Vikings tight end, he's going to have to run up the seam, get himself open against the linebacker, and make a big play.
And remember what Mike Tice told us. Randy Moss has come to him and said, if I'm double covered, throw to the tight end. Patriots have lost 4 in a row. Culpepper to Moss.
That's a sack. He lost. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see him throw it.
And Moss ruled inbounds at the 41-yard line. He made the catch, his 2nd of the game.
I didn't even see that ball thrown. I thought Culpepper faked the throw.
First down, Minnesota.
He just zipped that thing out of there at the last second.
A la Chris Carter, his former teammate, to get both feet in.
Well, if they review that, which they will in the booth, it's not a challenge situation inside 2 minutes. So if the booth reviews it, they're going to take that one back.
You think so?
Yeah, because he only had the 1 foot down, and his other foot came off the turf.
So Jeff Triplett will take a look at it.
And again, what you got to the only thing they might had they called a force, because Kelly gave him a shove on that last second.
We are reviewing the catch at the sideline.
Had they ruled a force out,
I thought he got both feet in. It was close.
Yeah. I thought not. Watch this one here, right? Possession. See, I just thought his left. I thought that left foot
toe.
The left.
That's the key.
Because there's possession, right? Close. I would review it.
Book of the Month Club. You can send Red a book. Red can send you his book.
After viewing the play, there is not indisputable visual evidence with which to overturn the ruling on the field. Therefore, it is a catch at the sideline.
I get the cheeseburger.
I wondered why you were my favorite play-by-play announcer in the game. Well, I think, Kenny, and I know I'm against the whole Moss-Randy ratio thing, but I think on this drive they've really not gone to him very much. And I know that, again, you see the press coverage, and you know that there's a safety over the top, but man, when you need a big play, you know what I'm saying? When you need a big play, I think you got to go to Randy Moss downfield. This was the one where Culpepper actually fumbled the ball, and they had the holding penalty. Look at him there. I mean, he could beat that on that one there. He beat the press coverage, beat the tar out of the press coverage, right? I mean, he knocked Kelly right to the ground. So I understand, you know, I was one of the guys saying, hey, this Randy ratio is somewhat ridiculous, but I think there's a certain time and place when you really need to push that ball to your best player.
And the Randy ratio, Mike Tice and his staff studied last year's games, and when the Vikings threw to Moss, 40% of the time they went 4-1.
See, now they're actually doubling Randy with two quarterbacks, even though he's blown into his own backfield.
On 2nd down and 4, the end around to Randy Moss, and he picks up the first down. So the Vikings looking to get the ball in the hands of Moss. It's only his 4th touch. He has 2 receptions and now 2 carries today.
Well, Cedric James was wide open. Randy Moss thinks he's open on this. He beats Kelly. You know what? He was open on that. Warren Sapp, who gets most of the attention, would be the first one to tell you that McFarland is just a terror there in the middle.
What a catch by Moss. Climbed the ladder to make the catch at the 14-yard line. Only his 3rd reception today for a gain of 21.
That was pretty vintage. See Randy Moss in the middle of the field making just a spectacular play. He gets open, he sees the zone. That ball is not well thrown by Dante Culpepper, but Moss can make up for an errant throw with just spectacular athleticism. 3 catches today, but let's not forget he had the 1 touchdown, 40-yard touchdown pass that was called back earlier. And this game has been haunted for the Minnesota Vikings. Their 2 turnovers have resulted in 14 Bucks points, and there's another turnover. And this is just a poor pass by Dante Culpepper. He runs a bootleg, and he throws back. Here's Dante. He's going to throw back here, and Singleton is just sitting right there in the zone. Look at Singleton. He's right there in front of Randy Moss. It's as if Culpepper doesn't even see Singleton in that underneath zone. See that? I mean, that's he just had the position and everything.
Perhaps would play elsewhere next season if the Cowboys let him go.
Yeah, and he may. I mean, Jerry Rice, speaking of him, coming up next, the 49ers at the Raiders, Battle of the Bays, and this will be the first time that Jerry Rice will be facing his old team. And
with the Raiders having lost 3 in a row, with Jerry Rice getting more balls in recent games than Tim Brown.
Yeah, and you know, to bring it back to our game here, if you look at Rice in his first 4 seasons, and Randy Moss has eclipsed what Jerry Rice did in his first 4 seasons. So interesting. But the thing that Rice did is he not only had those first 4 seasons with incredible numbers, but he just kept doing it, and he kept getting better on an offensive tackle and beat him.
Rondé with 8 tackles today. Culpepper complete to Moss for a first down at the 27-yard line.
Dante Culpepper. You know, I just think enough has been enough. It's been such a downward spiral for a year and a half. He just doesn't look like the guy we saw.
We watched this kid with the Randy ratio and all the things that went on early in the year, and it looks as if he might not recover from those first 3 or 4 episodes of how we're going to throw the ball and who we're going to throw it to and how many you have to throw to Randy.
It looks like he's just broken, and we love this kid, Todd Bauman. Warming up, Mike Tice says, you know what, Dante? Take a rest and bounce. And immediately, look at this. Early fourth at 48-yard rainbow to Moss. Next play, a 32-yard bullet to Moss. Down to the one flying. Moss thinks he's in, and he's got the touch. He's through quick.
Yeah, going to get a pretty good block for the second fastest guy to the screen ever, Coach. Randy Moss does a good job of getting down the field and springing Bennett with that block.
So the Vikings lead 20-19 until.
Vikings on the Packer 24. 3 wide receivers, and Culpepper getting good protection, going to Randy Moss, and Moss is there for the touchdown. So first down, and there is Culpepper, and Randy Moss gets inside of Tyrone Williams. Second down and 1 at the 35-yard line, and there is the quick pass to Moss, and Moss getting a block from Dwayne Bates. Second down and 20. Back on the 38 of the Vikings. Culpepper drills it. Caught by Moss, going high to make the catch. So it'll be first and 10 at the 20. Bennett getting the yardage. And here is Culpepper with loads of time. And he's got Randy Moss on the crossing pattern. And Moss juking his way. Setback on third down and 2. Kelly Campbell split to the top. Third down and 2 for the Vikings. On the rollout, the pass caught by Moss.
You win a Super Bowl your first year as a starter.
Ooh, they got some monsters coming out here, dog. They got some big Super Bowl champion monsters coming out here, decorated in that blue and gray.
Culpepper over the middle. Randy Moss. Moss picks up the first down and more. Out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
At Rick's junior college.
Culpepper looking for Moss. Victor Green and Lawyer Malloy on the coverage.
And this is exactly how the Patriots wanted to defeat Randy Moss. I think Moss, in all fairness, Kenny, lost that ball in the sun. But you could see that there's always a man over the top of Randy Moss. Right, here's Moss right here in the slot. And you see how Malloy is over the top and Green is right there. They're always going to have two people on him. Defensive focus is on Randy Moss. And watch what happens on this play here. It's too much on Moss, because if you stop it here, there's Victor Green. He's looking at Moss. Otis Smith is looking at Moss. Guess what they don't see? They don't see Kelly Campbell sneak behind him, open in the end zone for the touchdown.
On second and 10, Culpepper to the near side. And the catch is made at the 47-yard line by Randy Moss. 9 yards, just shy of the marker.
And you see the precision that Culpepper has to have to complete to Randy Moss, because there's coverage on the outside and there's coverage on the inside. You see it there. So he's got to hit him right in this window. You see the coverage. Here comes the safety. Here comes the corner. Very small opportunities to complete the pass to Moss.
3 wide receivers. Culpepper fires on first down, complete to Moss. Another Vikings first down at the New England 24.
Well, Dante Culpepper's arm was spectacular on this play, but watch his legs. Watch him step up into Mike Vrabel. He just steps right up into the sack, and then he delivers this beautiful pass. Again, very small window to complete that pass to Randy Moss. There is coverage all around Moss. Look at all the defenders that surround him. They've got Randy Moss, and despite his off-the-field soap opera that, week after week, he is an outstanding player.
4 wide receivers set on second and 6. Randy Moss into Falcons territory, has another first down to the Atlanta 48, brought down by Chris Draft.
The key to this play is blocking. And if you're going to run this wide receiver screen, the Vikings do a great job. Chris Walsh, Dwayne Bates, 2 blocks right there, and that enables Moss to get the first down. Vikings typically have come out running the football, and what we've seen so far was a play-action pass, so a fake run, and then a pass, and then a run, and then that short pass to Moss.
Moss to the right. First and goal from the 6. screen, and Moss unable to make the catch.
Of course, these two guys have been in the headlines here in Minnesota all week long. Late in the game last week, people thought, including myself, that Moss should have had the ball thrown his way more. The ball wasn't. Moss took the last play of the game off. He indirectly criticized Dante Culpepper. Said he knew why the Vikings were 3-8. Of course, Culpepper knows as well as anyone he has more turnovers than anybody in the league. The two of them had it out this week here at the facility, and the Vikings are telling us they've cleared the air.
Three wide receivers. And the quick slant caught by Randy Moss. First down after the Falcons 39 and a gain of 20. Deion Carpenter brought him down. Culpepper on 3rd and 5. And instead it's Moss on the crossing route, who makes his 3rd catch, picks up the first down.
Playing well, considering this is only his 4th appearance in the NFL game.
Culpepper to Moss in Falcons territory. A gain of 19 yards.
And Kenny, right now, the Falcons are choosing to single Randy Moss with Ray Buchanan. And this is a challenge that Buchanan, I'm sure, welcomes. But this is going to be a battle that's going to go on all day, and you better believe the Vikings are going to test Ray Buchanan if he's going to try to stay man-to-man. Now Culpepper heating up. Here's Randy Moss right there, and Doug Johnson's just sitting there saying, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm good, Doug says. What are you going to say? You know, it's interesting. You know, you hear all these things about Randy Moss, and he's in the headlines, but time and again, teammates and people in the Vikings organization say, hey, if you just know Randy, you know, he's a good guy. I guess it's just if you don't know.
Culpepper on 2nd and 4, complete to Moss, and Coach Mike Tice, as a penalty flag comes out. Mike Tice said he's practiced hard all year, and he's blocked hard all season.
Well, he certainly regressed last week in the last play of the New England game, and a couple of the team captains for the Vikings admonished Moss.
Number 84, push off at the break.
And there it is, they're getting him for a penalty. That's his second one. Second instance of Moss pushing off and coming up with a Vikings penalty. Tice has got to hate that. He feels like the officiating has gone against his team all season long. And in fact, Kenny, when they played the Packers here a couple of weeks ago, you see that was a clear push. Lance Johnstone hit Brett Favre. He was penalized twice for roughing the passer, and the league later said that that was an incorrect call. However, the 2 penalties against Moss today have been correct. As I was saying, Kenny, a couple of the Vikings captains took Randy Moss aside on Monday and admonished him and said, hey, you know, you can't do this. And Mike Tice told us he was glad that his players did that. He said it's better coming from players to single a guy out and say, hey, we won't accept it. Obviously, Randy Moss took it hard. He's having a pretty good game so far today. 4 catches, 61 yards. Early in the second quarter.
And this pass picked off, intended for Moss. Ray Buchanan.
Moss has been a viable part of the Vikings offense in the first half. In fact, he's got 5 catches for 63 yards. And it would have been more, but for 2 costly penalties. There's a pass shove right there on Ray Buchanan, and then he shoves Buchanan again there. And so both of those plays set the Vikings offense back.
Vikings turned the ball over 3 times. For Randy Moss, his first catch since early in the second quarter. His 6th reception of the game.
More good blocking by the other Vikings wide receivers. Chris Walsh is out there. Dwayne Bates, watch the block. There's Bates with a block, Walsh with a block, and that gives Randy Moss a running lane.
Six catches, 71 yards.
It's money time. I think you go to Randy Moss, right? You let him make the money play. That's why you pay him millions and millions of dollars to make the play now.
Here's Culpepper on 3rd and 16. Moss waiting, and he makes the catch down at the Falcons' 32-yard line.
Well done by Dante Culpepper. Culpepper avoids the rush. Moss stays with the play. Keon Carpenter errs terribly here by letting Randy Moss get over the top. Look at Culpepper. Throws that ball deep downfield. And when it's money time, they do go to their money player. They didn't go to him last week, Kenny, and I think part of that stemmed from the animosity that has grown between Culpepper and Moss. The animosity, they say, that was diffused this week after the two players talked privately.
A 40-yard pass play, and it's Moss again, down to the 15-yard line. As we hit the 2-minute warning. Two big receptions by Randy Moss. Vikings trailing by 3 on the move.
Randy Moss with 127 yards on 8 catches. 2 critical catches on this drive here. Well, Vikings need another big play, Kenny, and on this series, this is the guy they went to. There's the big 3rd down conversion. Another big pass play to Randy Moss and run after the catch. That penalty sets them back again. They're 8th of the day. They average 9 a game this season, most in the NFL.
2nd and 6 from the 11. Moss,
clutch.
Down at the 5-yard line, has the first down.
Another first down, and Randy Moss is celebrating. He and Culpepper worked out their differences off the field, and they certainly worked out their differences on the field. The two of them hooking up here for the 9th time. Look at that athleticism. This guy gets the big bucks.
His 3rd catch this drive, 9th of the game. On 3rd and goal from the 6. Put into the hands of Randy Moss. He's going to throw to Culpepper. He's in for the touchdown. Penalty flag.
Here's McKinney right here. Here's Moss coming in motion. I don't know if the ball was snapped, if Moss still wasn't to the outside. Boy, I'll tell you what. Watch it here. The ball snapped. Yeah, I think that's a bad call. I think Moss was outside still, and McKinney was not the last man in the formation. Watch it here. But that's not a reviewable penalty.
Still 11 seconds left. How about Mike Tice? Using trickery with the pass from Moss to Culpepper for what would have been the go-ahead score if not for the penalty call.
The Vikes, Randy Moss always has huge games against Green Bay.
Randy Moss, you look at the numbers that he posts, it's incredible. It's like he's had a career against the Green Bay Packers. He's done so many things, 6 100-yard games in the 9 games that he has played. And the one thing I enjoyed when I had a chance to talk to him the other day, he said, I really am motivated in this game because I get a chance to share a stage with Brett Favre.
Randy Moss has saved some of his best performances for the Packers. He has tormented Green Bay throughout his career, and Brett Favre, for all of his success, has a losing record against the Vikings.
Randy Moss is the man they have to get it to. Now, they had a Randy ratio earlier. I think you have to have a Randy ratio all the time. Had a good game against them in Week 11, 115 yards. But the challenge falls on the corners of Mike McKenzie and Todd McBride, the 2 corners. McKenzie, of course, a #1 pick. They brought him here to be able to try and defend Randy Moss. And Todd McBride is going to fill in a seating for Tyrone Williams. Both of them will have their hands full with 84.
Michael Bennett is the single setback. He needs 6 yards for his first 1,000-yard season. Culpepper throws to Moss, first down. Spins out of his tackle out to the 34-yard line. Culpepper, good protection, then he takes off. Then throws on the run, and Moss Down to the Packer 32. First down, Minnesota. Impressive drive for the Vikings, and they take a 3-0 lead in Lambeau. Said he looked at the film. He was so tentative he couldn't believe it was him. Culpepper under pressure this time. Throws for the corner. Moss, touchdown. Mike McKenzie could not stay with the fleet Randy Moss.
Mike, the one thing that Randy Moss does on this play is he just breaks to the outside, and as soon as he clears McKenzie, his hand is in the air. Look at this throw and catch. I mean, that is absolutely perfect. There is no way to defend against that.
What a job by Dante Culpepper, and he knows it. This game looks exactly like the game.
Randy Moss seems to get numbers against anybody, but if he could play every game against the Packers, he might have caught Jerry Rice by now. 10 games against Green Bay. He's approaching 1,000 yards, nearly 20 yards a catch against the Packers.
You know, Randy Moss, he just shows you how good a blocker he is downfield.
Randy Moss made the first big play of the game.
And you can never forget about Randy Moss. The better they run it, the more chances that opens up for Moss. This will be 1st and 10 on the 31. Flying saucer in motion. This is Bennett. They're looking for the reverse. Now they've got some tricks of their own. Here goes Randy Moss. Look at Dante Culpepper leading the play. And Moss is across the 50, and he's down at about the 43-yard line. Tackled by Jay Bellamy, a pickup of 26 yards.
It's getting late in the season. You can tell. You see Moss goes out for the block, and he comes back. And the whole defensive line bit for the Saints. They pursue the ball. They fly all over the field. Culpepper getting blocks. Dwayne Bates getting blocks. McKinney coming down the field and getting blocks.
Vikings in a 3-wide-out formation. Moss, the quick opener, and he'll go down quickly. That's Fred Thomas, the corner. It'll bring up 3rd and 9.
It's amazing how the offense gets so much of the benefit of the doubt. That was a penalty, and they didn't call the penalty. But this is an offensive league, and they want to showcase the offense.
Right.
That's why no penalty was called.
3rd and 9. Williams in the backfield with Culpepper. Here comes the heat. Moss has it, and he'll have the first down. Now he's going to dance. Moss across the 45-yard line, and that's a huge pickup. Tackled by Dale Carter, a gain of 16.
Just an underneath route. Linebacker's got to call the China call when he's coming underneath. You see inside position by Dale Carter, but that's beat Cedric Hodge with the pick on his own guy. The ball was only thrown 5 yards, but it ends up 15, 16-yard gain. When you have that crossing type motion, you pick guys, you're going to get a lot of yardage.
Yeah, and as of the corner, you don't want a receiver running through that traffic. We'll start out on the 44-yard line. Randy Moss is knocked out. There goes the ball. It looked like they were trying to run a reverse or a fake reverse. Whatever the case, it didn't fool anybody on the Saints side.
It was a fake reverse, and they're going to throw a screen to Michael Bennett, but Darren Howard does not get fooled. Watch Darren Howard just continue up the football field. It's his responsibility to get Culpepper. He sees Kleinsasser moving right at him, and he stays with it, and he goes with the fake, and that's what you have to do. That's how you get Randy Moss to quit running that reverse and to get Mike Tice to stop running that reverse.
Ask Randy if he wants to run that again. Here comes the heat. He throws. Moss has got it. Now Randy Moss is going to run. Randy Moss doesn't get out of bounds. There's a flag down. Moss looked as though he was headed for the sidelines. The Vikings haven't been able to get a lot this year is that one-on-one matchup with Randy Moss. They say, Scott Linehan said, I don't even bother watching film sometimes because we're going to get something different when we see the team on Sunday.
You get the Randy Moss cover two. It's not a normal cover two. You get the safety really widening out to make sure he gets over the top. You get the corner really putting a nice little shot on him and taking him back.
2nd and 13. Randy Moss is in the slot at the bottom of your screen. The throw. He's looking for Moss. Moss has a chance. Moss has got it. Touchdown, Vikings. And they strike just that quick. And they got the coverage that we were talking about, Yurko. Man-to-man on Randy Moss.
Man-to-man, Jay Bellamy on Randy Moss. A mismatch, a height mismatch. Randy Moss almost 6'4". Culpepper drops back and takes a look and finds him. Here's Randy Moss right here. He's your slot E receiver. He's got the matchup he wants. The blitz comes. He's got a linebacker who's going to carry him. Hodge is trying to carry him down the football field. You're not going to win. That's a lose situation. New Orleans, they gambled. They lost in that situation. Hodge cannot cover Randy Moss.
He did a very good job for a linebacker to even be that close.
Randy Moss has really been productive in a number of games since Michael Bennett has established himself. You see 0-0. He was phenomenal in the 2000 year, close to 19 yards per catch, but he was exceptional. And Randy Moss is starting to come back. He's becoming more productive, and Culpepper is getting him the ball with chances where he could win, not in those short little routes that Chris Carter used to run.
Those are the differences between winning seasons and losing seasons. When you don't hit plays like that, when the offense or the defense gives you one, you got to hit it. The Minnesota Vikings struck early, had a little lull, and they've struck again. They're up by 4 over the Saints. We'll be back with the second half.
For a touchdown, and in a 2-minute situation, Cedric Hodge finds himself on Randy Moss. Randy Moss with the big touchdown right before the half.
Here's a quick pitch. That's Randy Moss. Moss going against Dale Carter.
They could not get it started in the first half. They've got it started in the second half.
Time winding down here in the third quarter. This is complete to Randy Moss. Moss very close to a first down. Darren Smith along with 3 others in on the tackle. And Randy Moss has pulled some one-on-one coverage today, and he's made the Saints pay for it. Empty backfield with 5 wide receivers in the game. Quick toss, looking for Randy Moss. Moss has it, makes a move, and that's enough for the first down. What a gutsy pass. It looked as though they weren't going to get it out to Moss.
Well, Dwayne Bates throws a cut block on Dale Carter. It looked early to me, but the play comes out to Randy Moss, and the ball was almost too far.
And Randy Moss has come up big. That's a pickup of 9. He's got 9 catches for 89 yards and 1 touchdown. Vikings have only turned over 1 of these this quarter. This is Moss. Moss has it, and he'll flip it over. Dale Carter on the coverage.
Key third down conversion, and they've gone to Moss all day on third down conversions.
Randy Moss has been big. 3 wide outs, 1 tight end. Moss at the bottom. Here's the play. Looking to Randy Moss. Randy Moss has it. A flag is down. Let's see what it is. Push off against Randy Moss.
Offensive pass interference. You're going up against a veteran there. 10 yards, first down. They're either looking for it was blatant. And here's Dale Carter. He's a veteran of this league. And the first thing Randy does is come put his hands on him, and then he pushes off before he goes up.
I got to tell you, though, I've been involved and seen a lot worse than that. They'll make it 1st and goal. Looked like somebody went early in, going to Moss. That one's too high.
And there's a lot of hand fighting, a lot of contact between Moss and Dale Carter. And you're going to get that in the NFL between receivers.
And you're right, somebody from the Saints went early again. They didn't call it. 2nd and goal. Looking for Moss, a quick turnaround, and it's denied, and there are no flags.
I didn't like that throw at all. That one might have been able to get picked. That's a very dangerous throw going across the field with the corner that far off. He's looking directly at Culpepper. And Urban, he's going to make an interception for you.
You got to throw that ball low and away. You got to throw it almost at the pylon, away from the corner.
But your defensive back is waiting. You got to run that slant. You got to find something else besides that play.
Third down and goal. Ball pushed back to the 13. Another shot in the end zone. Double coverage, but Randy Moss comes down with it. Unbelievable. Double coverage. He split the defenders, and he makes the score. Knight and Carter were covering.
If you had to ask yourself, who do you need to win there? It is Carter and it's Knight. It's the both of those guys. That's what you need. You need those guys there.
And the Vikings have at first signaled that they're going for 2 points. The kick team started to come on the field. They went back.
Culpepper takes the snap, but it's a snap that's on the ground. Everything that goes wrong goes wrong. But this is the touchdown pass to Randy Moss. And what happens? Sammy Knight gets turned around. He runs to Randy Moss, thinking the play is going to go to the corner. He ends up wheeling back around with his back to the quarterback. Randy Moss was the only guy that could see the football.
So long from New Orleans, folks.
What is your relationship with Randy Moss?
Well, I haven't talked to him.
Do you lament that you and Randy aren't close, or is it not material to your life?
No, I don't lament. I mean, we're at different stages. We've always been very, very different. You know, he's trying to carry a franchise that's really struggling, and a lot of pressure on him. And for myself, I'm just at a different stage in my life. I don't have any regrets as far as Randy.
He went and found Randy Moss, and they embraced. I know that was very meaningful for Chris.
At receiver, what's his name? Randy Moss. Yes, controversy follows him everywhere, but so does production on the field. He's going back to the Pro Bowl. His best season ever reception-wise. He still gets it done.
Second down along 4, shy of the 30-yard line. Culpepper's first throw is to Randy Moss, and Moss for the first down to the 39-yard line with his 94th catch of the season.
One of the great matchups has got to be Randy Moss working against this secondary of the Miami Dolphins, specifically Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain. The Miami Dolphins are not going to change their coverage. That means they're going to do a lot of press coverage.
First down, Vikes at their 39 to start the series, and Culpepper to throw. Good protection, wide open as Moss. They're giving him plenty of cushion with respect to his brilliant open field speed.
And Dave Wannstedt was talking about a conservative press coverage, and that's what Patrick Surtain right there is giving Moss. And you're not gonna let him get behind you. Although there will be times, and let's face it, one of the ways to defend Randy Moss is to come up and try to give him that big jam at the line of scrimmage. That negates his speed if you stop him right there out of his stance.
Second and 2. Bennett with the toss back. They're looking for Moss. He's open. He can't get it at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, that was a touchdown. Give Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, a lot of credit. Randy Moss had beaten the secondary badly. He got behind Marion and Surtain. And why not? It's a running play all the way. See Moss in the upper right-hand corner. But Randy had turned his head looking towards the sideline, made a great adjustment on the ball, and what? Maybe a foot too far.
That's all it was. Moss to the right, and Culpepper looking for Moss in the end zone. Is he in bounds? No catch.
A triple team. Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper almost team up for a touchdown against a triple team.
Dave Wannstedt said you can be sure we're going to have at least 1.5 on him every play.
How about 3? Well, he starts off with Patrick Surtain. They're playing, and here we come from the inside.
Freeman.
Look at this. Freeman, and look at this. We've got Rodgers, Freeman, and Surtain. Marlon Greenwood, look at this. This is unbelievable.
It's going to be challenged by Mike Tice. Tice, from his angle on that same sidelines, thought it was a touchdown. Left foot is down, but Arturo Freeman screens his. Ooh, the right looked like it might have been in too. Would that be remarkable?
Where's has challenged the ruling on the field?
Where's possession?
The pass was incomplete.
Touchdown.
Does he have possession of the football? Let's.
Well, now let's see what happens here.
They're going to rule he did not have possession of the football when both feet were down in the end zone.
But is that remarkable in itself that he got both feet in? Well, some don't like him. Others do, and the ones who really like him are the Minnesota teammates. Mike Tice telling us yesterday he's as popular in the locker room as anyone. He doesn't find the media and some folks on the outside of the game doesn't deliver a lot of friendliness, but he's such a tremendous athlete, and within the clubhouse, solid guy.
One more time, what may hurt is the bobble of the football. He has it, and I think both feet are in bounds, but the ball, is it firmly in his possession? I don't think it's firmly in his possession until he's well out of bounds. And keep in mind, the ruling on the field was an incompletion. And I don't know that Johnny Greer is going to see enough here, or he's going to see anything for that matter, that's going to make him want to overturn it. Here's another look at it from behind. Let's assume his feet are in. Just look at the hands and the ball. Right there, the feet are down. Boy, that's it. But you can see
the ball. He did not control it.
And then the ball comes out.
We didn't see that before the ball comes out.
I couldn't see that. He has to hit the ground and maintain possession of the football. That last look really gives it to us. Tremendous job by Randy Moss of catching that football with only his fingertips. But there's no question he's got to hold on to this football, and he has to complete the act of catching it. The ball, from that angle, we can see the ball's out. We couldn't see that from the prior angles. That in and of itself, that's no question an incomplete pass.
Yeah, Culpepper and the Vikings. Culpepper in trouble and then has to dump it off to Moss. He's got to reverse, looking for a block. 30 and out of bounds at the 25.
Well, that's making something out of nothing if ever I've seen it. Randy Moss just comes over there. First of all, he fakes catching it. It's a fake to begin with, and then he ends up being the outlet. And then he just completely reverses his way all the way back across the field. That's an unusual looking play.
12-yard game that was ad-libbed by that man, Randy Moss, the only Viking to go to the Pro Bowl this year. Behind Culpepper on second down. The throw is to Moss on that quick angle shot, and it's a first down at the 38. You could feel the crowd of 64,000 starting to build to a crescendo with Moss catching that ball in open territory.
Well, Jamar Fletcher is the corner that's lined up on Moss, and he respected that little outside move by Randy and said, hey, once he gets in there, he's not my problem anymore.
Derek Rogers makes the tackle. 5 catches for Moss today, so that gets him 2 within 100. He's never hit the century mark in his 5 brilliant years, but 5 straight seasons, 1,000 yards. No one in NFL history has done that the first 5 years in the league.
Since Chris Carter has left, Randy Moss has had to become not only the deep threat, but the possession receiver as well. And he has the most receptions he's ever had in a single season. But you know, his per catch average is 5 yards below his career average. And that just shows you how much work he's doing underneath. So much more work underneath than he's ever done before. Well, Randy Moss is always going to be the focal point of the Vikings offense. Again, illustration, that's a possession route. Here's another possession route. He's trying to make something happen afterwards. And he really did make something happen here as he came all the way back across the field. But I guess our vision of Randy in the first half was the almost touchdown where he didn't have possession going out of bounds. And then, of course, the overthrow by Culpepper. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. The long flea flicker where Moss was open and Dante just overthrew him, and then the oh-so-close almost touchdown catch in the end zone. We got Randy Moss to this side who's clearing the field, and then Dwayne Bates is running a crossing pattern underneath into the area vacated by Randy Moss. Moss took the entire Dolphins secondary with him. See, there's Randy Moss in the slot. He's going to go and take a corner. There's a safety downfield waiting for him. And that opened up a big area underneath for Bates.
Even the old dogs, they learn how to adjust, and that's one of the major moves made by Wanstead. Long pass for Moss. 60-yard throw from Culpepper to Randy Moss.
It's a double move by Randy Moss. Watch the fake inside, outside, and then back to the inside. And he just turned Sean Wooden, the safety, all the way around with that double move. And this time, Dante Culpepper doesn't overthrow Randy Moss.
Half a sack for Taylor to give him 17.5 on the year, and Agunlia has 1.5 today. Moss, he's going to throw the ball, and it's a touchdown to Dwayne Bates. Double covered, but the two Dolphin defenders had their back to the play.
Well, Randy Moss, first of all, gets away from Agunlia. And how about this, falling backwards, gets it to Bates, who somehow got Jamar Fletcher completely turned around.
What a payoff to an 80-yard drive. Randy Moss, a touchdown throw to Bates. Randy Moss showcased on that drive a 60-yard catch, and then the touchdown pass, his first.
Well, here's that touchdown. Here's Randy Moss. He's lined up on the outside. Over on this side, this is Bates locked up one-on-one with Jamar Fletcher. Now what's going to happen is Fletcher's got him man on man. And back in the secondary is Madison. But Madison takes a couple steps forward when he sees Moss coming around the corner. That makes Sam late getting back in there. And Jamar Fletcher just lost track of Dwayne Bates. Thus, you got a touchdown. Some throw, though, by Randy Moss.
Only 3:18 left in the fourth. Throw into the flat, complete to the tight end Chamberlain. And he motors down to the Miami 45.
Again, Randy Moss draws 3 Miami defenders, and you send in a receiver, this time Byron Chamberlain, right behind him. Moss is doing the heavy lifting. Moss is doing the heavy lifting. Watch him come off the ball. That's Patrick Surtain. But they're coming back from the inside. You can see Marlon Greenwood and go right underneath the Byron Chamberlain, because let me tell you, all the attention is on 84.
And that would mean that they need to get down inside the 30. Moss wrapped up at the 37-yard line by Arturo Freeman. That is his 100th catch this year, Randy Moss.
The ball looked like it was tipped, and a bad snap that Culpepper, but watch the throw. The trajectory was changed on, yeah, right there. It got tipped at the line of scrimmage. That's pretty good concentration by Randy Moss. It was inside the right upright by about an inch.
Now 17 seconds left, and the Dolphins need to call upon something very special, trailing by that field goal. We'll make that 11. You think Randy Moss doesn't really care?